Okay, here we have the first post-track ride for Tennyson Kid. And Tenny, as I'm calling him, is a 4-year-old thoroughbred gelding by Pataki Kid. I hope I'm saying that right. And he's out of a pulpit mare. And this is obviously an extremely attractive young horse. He sticks 16.2 hands, so he's a good size. He is, obviously in great shape and condition. He really looks the part. He's extremely easy on the eyes. So this was his big first post-track ride. He's only been here, I believe, since Friday or so. So he had a couple of days over the weekend to settle in. I was at Fair Hill both days, so he really just got to hang out and do not a whole lot of anything. On Monday, I looked at him on the lunge line just to kind of get a feel for him, see how he goes, what he thinks about the contact, let him get used to being in the ring, all that kind of stuff. And he was fabulous. So I had absolutely no concerns about having a sit on him today to see what he's going to be all about. I did stick him on the lunge line for I think all of like 120 seconds before I got on, and I have a little clip of that at the end of his ride video. He was super quiet on the lunge line this morning. He was excited when I lunged him on Monday, which makes sense. He's in a new place. He's not been out here. So, of course, there's a bit of adrenaline. So he was quite excited. And then when I brought him out this morning, all that adrenaline was gone. And he really just looked like a super rideable, easygoing guy, which is how he is. He actually took way more leg than I realized or thought he would. So I'll definitely be wearing some little spurs the next time. And I started the ride without holding the stick, but about 15 minutes in, I told Billy that I could not go on without without a stick to help me to get him to come a little bit more forward. So he is definitely a quiet type, and all of that sort of jives with his racing history, which is that he had 6 career starts, his last one being on July 31st, and he never broke his maiden, so he never hit the board. And in his last start, he came in ninth. So his racing connections gave it a good go, but obviously just super slow. Did not want to be a racehorse. So here he is, and I'm very happy to have him. So it's a very hot, humid day in Maryland today, and when I got on, it was a very typical first post-track ride for a young horse. He was, leaning on one shoulder, then leaning on the other shoulder. So it took me a little bit of work in the walk. I actually spent a lot of time in the walk and a bit in the trot to sort of get him straight as you're seeing him here. So by the time we were like sort of getting to the good stuff, he was kind of hot and I was definitely really hot. So I didn't want to do too much. Once I got him in a good place, we went left, we went right, quick canter each way. I didn't want him to be, too exhausted from this ride today because he really was very good. It's just basic things like he simply doesn't understand the straightness, doesn't understand moving off the leg, all that kind of stuff, which is just training. Obviously he's got lovely movement, great balance. He has a phenomenal canter. He does not yet understand a canter transition. That took me a little bit of work to actually just get him to go into the canter. He wanted to just sort of do a run-on sentence in the trot, which, it's just total typical baby green horse. So I actually think I got the right lead by. He picked up the left. Yeah, we were going to the right. He picked up the left canter, and then we got the change. And Billy just wasn't even videoing because we were on the wrong lead. But he ended up doing the change for me, and then we did have a nice little go around in the right canter. His canter is extremely balanced. It's uphill. It's all the things. So yeah, I thought he was fantastic. I expect that he's going to sleep on this, and the next time he comes out in another day or two, well, it definitely won't be tomorrow, probably not Thursday, probably when I sit on him again on Friday, I will expect that, like is so often the case, he'll just come out straight from the get. So I won't have to spend 10, 15 minutes working with him on getting all the pieces aligned. I expect that he'll just sort of come out as he left off from this ride because he certainly has a fantastic brain. It's very willing and happy to do all the things. We did take a bunch of walk breaks, and on one of the walk breaks I thought it would be okay to start walking over some poles, which he was happy to do. Anyway, he was fantastic. I have no complaints about him. He did not do any spooking or any silliness. I mean, he is a big athletic horse, so he's definitely not for, the timid rider. He's, a young, athletic, not huge moving, but young, athletic, nice moving horse. And so he's definitely for somebody who probably has some experience doing some restarts. Oh, so what you just saw there is that, so he still has one hind shoe on in this video. He had actually lost the right hind. He still has the left hind on, and they have huge grabs. So sometimes the grabs actually just sort of get stuck in the footing in the sand, and so that's what happened. Literally, his left hind grab just got him stuck in the sand. So that's what that was. But anyway, he saw the farrier this afternoon. He has great feet, so now he's in a regular set of steel shoes up front, and he's completely barefoot behind, so he will not have that problem anymore. I thought when he came out of this left canter, he did a really lovely trot to finish. And yeah, I was really pleased with him. He's a really, really lovely, talented, obviously gorgeous young horse, and he has a great brain. He's very quiet. You know, for anybody who has any experience working with a young horse or a green horse, you'll find him very standard. There's nothing quirky or weird about him, and he's certainly not a hot or overly reactive type of horse.